What if one of today's biggest Marvel stars secretly appeared on a family drama before becoming Black Panther? The show's mother was only 8 years older than her TV daughter in real life, and a teen heartthrob landed his first major acting gig by accidentally performing at his great-grandfather's funeral? These are just the beginning of the shocking secrets behind Lincoln Heights. Fact 1. The age gap illusion. When Lincoln Heights premiered on ABC Family in 2007, viewers watched what appeared to be a typical family drama, featuring a devoted mother guiding her teenage daughter through the challenges of growing up in a tough neighborhood. What audiences didn't realize was that the actresses playing mother and daughter were practically the same generation in real life. Nikki Michaud, who portrayed the wise and nurturing matriarch Jen Sutton, was born in 1970, while Erica Hubbard, who played her eldest daughter Cassie, was born in 1978. This means that in reality, Michaud was only 8 years older than the actress she was supposed to have given birth to as a teenager. This incredibly small age gap between television parent and child is almost unheard of in Hollywood, where casting directors typically seek actors with more realistic age differences to make family relationships believable. Most mother-daughter pairs on television have age gaps of 15 to 25 years between the actresses, which allows for more natural-looking family dynamics and helps audiences suspend their disbelief. The fact that Michaud and Hubbard pulled off their mother-daughter relationship so convincingly speaks to their exceptional acting abilities and the strong chemistry they developed on set. Michaud brought a maternal warmth and authority to her role as Jen, while Hubbard perfectly captured the rebellious yet vulnerable spirit of a teenager navigating first love and family expectations. Their performances were so authentic that viewers never questioned the family connection, even though Michaud could have realistically played Hubbard's older sister instead of her mother. This casting choice demonstrates how skilled performers can transcend the limitations of their actual ages to create believable family bonds that resonate with audiences, proving that great acting can overcome even the most unusual behind-the-scenes realities. Fact 2. Chadwick Boseman's hidden early role. Years before Chadwick Boseman became a global superstar as the King of Wakanda in Black Panther, he was quietly building his acting career with a recurring role on Lincoln Heights that most Marvel fans have never heard of. From 2008 to 2009, Boseman appeared on the ABC family drama as Nathaniel Ray Taylor, a complex character who brought both mystery and emotional depth to the show's later seasons. Boseman's character was introduced as an Army veteran struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder, which was a particularly sensitive portrayal during a time when many shows relied on harmful stereotypes about veterans. Rather than depicting Nathaniel as a violent or unstable character, the writers and Boseman worked together to create a nuanced performance that showed a man dealing with trauma while trying to rebuild his life and relationships. The most shocking twist came when the show revealed that Nathaniel was actually the biological son of Eddie Sutton, the main character played by Russell Hornsby, making him an older brother to the Sutton children who had been raised without knowing about his existence. This family revelation created dramatic tension and gave Boseman's character even more emotional weight as he navigated complicated relationships with his newfound siblings. What makes this role particularly fascinating is that it showcased many of the qualities that would later make Boseman such a compelling Black Panther. Even in this supporting television role, viewers could see his ability to convey quiet strength, vulnerability, and the internal struggles of a man carrying heavy responsibilities. His portrayal of a soldier dealing with the aftermath of war demonstrated the same intensity and empathy that would later define his most celebrated film performances, proving that his talent was evident long before Hollywood recognized him as a leading man. Fact 3. Funeral performance launched a career. The path to stardom for Michonne Ratliff, who played the youngest Sutton child Taylor on Lincoln Heights, began in the most unexpected and heartbreaking way possible when he was just 9 years old. At his great-grandfather's funeral, young Michonne made a spontaneous decision that would completely change the direction of his life and launch him toward a career in entertainment that he never could have imagined. During the funeral service, when the minister asked if anyone had anything to say about the deceased, Michonne surprised everyone in attendance by stepping up to the microphone without any preparation or warning. Instead of giving a traditional speech, he chose to honor his great-grandfather by singing "Lean on Me," the classic song by Bill Withers. This impromptu performance was particularly meaningful because Michonne had been an extremely shy child up until that moment, rarely speaking up or performing in front of others. As Michonne later explained in interviews, that funeral performance was the moment that truly broke him out of his shell and made him realize he had a special gift for music and connecting with people through song. The emotional response from family members and other mourners showed him the power that music could have in bringing comfort and healing to others during difficult times. One person who took particular notice of Michonne's unexpected talent was his cousin, Demetrius Henderson, who went by the nickname Domac, and happened to own a record label called Dynasty Records. Henderson immediately recognized that his young relative had something special and began working with Michonne to develop his musical abilities. By age 10, Michonne was already working on tracks in the recording studio, and he even completed a couple of independent album releases by the time he was 11 and 13 years old, respectively. Fact 4. 1 week to save the show. Lincoln Heights came dangerously close to never making it to television screens due to a production crisis that would have terrified any showrunner in Hollywood. Just 1 week before cameras were scheduled to start rolling on the first season, the series had absolutely no scripts ready for filming, creating a nightmare scenario that threatened to derail the entire project before it even began. Showrunner Kathleen McGee Anderson found herself in this impossible situation when she came aboard the production after the pilot had already been written, cast, and shot, and the series had received its green light from ABC Family. While everyone was ready to begin filming the first season, there was a glaring problem that no one had anticipated or prepared for properly. McGee Anderson later described her biggest fear during this chaotic time as wondering whether it would even be possible to get a script ready for shooting while staying ahead of what she called the script-hungry production beast that needed to devour 58 pages of new material every 7.5 days. The pressure was enormous because this wasn't just any television show trying to meet its deadlines. Lincoln Heights was breaking new ground as one of the very few dramatic television series on the air featuring a predominantly black cast, and Hollywood naysayers were already predicting that shows like this were guaranteed to fail because they supposedly lacked broad audience appeal. Adding to the mounting challenges was the fact that the show was airing on ABC Family, which was still considered a fledgling cable network that didn't immediately bring to mind fresh or exciting television content. Despite these overwhelming odds and the seemingly impossible timeline, McGee Anderson and her team somehow managed to pull together the necessary scripts and get the production back on track, allowing Lincoln Heights to premiere successfully and run for 4 complete seasons. Fact 5. Pop star promotions gone wild. ABC Family went all out with their marketing strategy for Lincoln Heights, turning each new season premiere into a pop music showcase by featuring hit songs from some of the biggest artists of the late 2000s. This unusual promotional approach connected the family drama with the contemporary music scene in a way that most television shows never attempted, creating memorable advertising campaigns that helped the series stand out in a crowded television landscape. When Season 2 premiered in September of 2007, the network chose Vanessa Hudgens' popular song, Say OK, to soundtrack their promotional commercials and advertisements. This was during the height of Hudgens' fame, following her breakout role in the Disney Channel movie High School Musical, making her track a perfect choice to attract the young audience that ABC Family was targeting with Lincoln Heights. For the 3rd season launch, the promotional team selected Crush by David Archuleta, who had recently finished as the runner-up on the 7th season of American Idol. Archuleta's massive fan base from his Idol success brought additional attention to the show's marketing campaign, and his wholesome image aligned well with ABC Family's brand identity during that period. The 4th and final season featured Avalanche by Marie Digby in its promotional materials. Digby had gained significant popularity through her acoustic cover versions of popular songs on YouTube, representing the emerging influence of social media stars in mainstream entertainment marketing. This pattern of using current pop hits to promote each season demonstrated ABC Family's commitment to keeping Lincoln Heights connected to contemporary culture and music trends. The strategy also reflected the network's understanding that music could be a powerful tool for attracting viewers and creating emotional connections between audiences and their television programming, especially for a show that dealt with family relationships and coming-of-age themes. Fact 6. The family that bonded too well. The authentic family chemistry that viewers saw on screen between the Sutton family members wasn't just great acting. It was the result of genuine friendships and connections that developed between the cast members from the very beginning of production. According to showrunner Kathleen McGee Anderson, the actors loved and supported each other so much off-screen that their real relationships translated into an unusually believable on-screen family dynamic that audiences could immediately sense and connect with. This remarkable bonding process began during the filming of the pilot episode in San Diego, where the cast spent extended time together away from their usual homes and routines. The location shooting created a unique environment where Russell Hornsby, Nikki Michaud, Erica Hubbard, Ryan Brown, and Michonne Ratliff naturally developed the kind of close relationships that many television families never achieve, even after years of working together. McGee Anderson specifically noted that because the actors genuinely cared for each other starting from that pilot production in San Diego, their connection became palpable to viewers watching at home. This meant that audiences could actually feel the warmth and authenticity of the family relationships through their television screens, rather than just watching actors playing roles. The strength of these off-screen relationships became one of the show's greatest assets, as it allowed the writers to explore complex family dynamics and emotional storylines with confidence that the actors could deliver believable performances. The cast's natural chemistry also helped viewers invest emotionally in the Sutton family's struggles and triumphs throughout their 4 seasons in Lincoln Heights. This level of genuine connection between cast members is relatively rare in television production, where busy schedules and professional pressures often prevent actors from forming deep personal bonds, making the Lincoln Heights experience particularly special for both the performers and their audiences. Fact 7. Bass Legends' secret theme song. Most viewers of Lincoln Heights had no idea that the show's opening theme song was created by one of the most respected and influential musicians in the world of jazz and fusion music, Stanley Clarke, a legendary bassist who had spent decades working with some of the biggest names in music and pioneering new sounds in jazz fusion, was the mastermind behind the Lincoln Heights theme song, working alongside singer-songwriter Blair Reinhardt to create the musical introduction that welcomed audiences into the Sutton family's world each week. Clarke's involvement in a family drama on ABC Family was particularly surprising given his incredible musical pedigree and the types of projects he was typically associated with during his career. Throughout the 1970s and 80s, Clarke had established himself as a groundbreaking artist who helped define the jazz fusion genre, collaborating with legendary musicians and creating complex, innovative compositions that pushed the boundaries of what bass guitar could achieve in contemporary music. His decision to work on a television theme song represented a fascinating intersection between high-level musical artistry and mainstream entertainment programming. Clarke brought his sophisticated understanding of melody, rhythm, and musical storytelling to create a theme that perfectly captured the show's blend of family warmth and urban grittiness without overwhelming the opening credits or distracting from the show's dramatic content. The collaboration with Blair Reinhardt added vocal elements that helped make the theme more accessible to television audiences while still maintaining the musical quality that Clarke was known for in his other work. This partnership created a unique opening that stood out from typical television theme songs of the time, giving Lincoln Heights a distinctive musical identity that reflected both the show's serious dramatic content and its connection to contemporary urban culture and family life. Fact 8. Michonne's record-breaking teen hit. While Michonne Ratliff was busy filming Lincoln Heights and playing the youngest member of the Sutton family, he was simultaneously achieving remarkable success in the music industry with a hit single that proved his talents extended far beyond acting. His song Just a Kiss became a genuine chart success, climbing all the way to number 53 on Billboard's Hot R&B and Hip Hop Songs chart, which was an impressive accomplishment for any artist, let alone a 16-year-old who was also working full-time on a television series. Even more surprising than the Billboard chart success was the fact that Just a Kiss became the #1 most added song on urban radio stations across the country on June 2, 2009. This meant that radio programmers and music directors at urban stations were choosing Michonne's track over hundreds of other new releases from established artists, giving a teenage actor-turned-singer the kind of radio support that many professional musicians spend years trying to achieve. The song's success was particularly notable because it connected with teenage audiences through age-appropriate lyrics about young romance that weren't patronizing or overly simplified. Music industry professionals, including producer Harvey Mason Jr., who had worked with major artists like Whitney Houston and Jordan Sparks, praised Michonne's vocal abilities and predicted that he had a bright future in the music business. The timing of this musical success created a unique situation where Michonne was experiencing fame on two different platforms simultaneously. While television audiences knew him as Taylor Sutton, the sweet youngest child of the family on Lincoln Heights, music fans were discovering him as a talented R&B artist with genuine vocal skills and chart-worthy material. The music video for Just a Kiss even premiered on Bet's popular countdown show, 106 & Park, giving Michonne exposure to an entirely different audience than his ABC Family viewers. Fact 9. The Schnitzel line that stuck. Among all the dramatic moments and heartfelt family conversations that filled Lincoln Heights over its 4-season run, one completely unexpected line of dialogue became a legendary inside joke among devoted fans of the show. During what should have been an ordinary dinner scene, the character Charles, played by Robert Adamson, delivered the bizarre and memorable line, "I hit him with a schnitzel," in a way that was so unexpected and oddly delivered that viewers couldn't stop talking about it long after the episode aired. The line appeared during a family dinner conversation where Charles was apparently explaining some kind of confrontation or incident that had occurred, but the casual way he mentioned using a schnitzel as a weapon struck viewers as both hilarious and completely random. The fact that schnitzel, a traditional European dish of breaded and fried meat, was mentioned as an improvised weapon in the middle of a serious family drama, created a moment of unintentional comedy that fans found irresistible. What made this line even more memorable was the completely matter-of-fact delivery by Adamson, who said it as if hitting someone with a piece of breaded meat was the most natural thing in the world. The contrast between the show's typically serious tone, which dealt with issues like gang violence, family struggles, and community problems, and this absurd moment involving food as a weapon created a perfect storm of unexpected humor. Fan communities online began quoting the schnitzel line regularly, turning it into a running joke that became synonymous with the show's more quirky moments. The line demonstrated how sometimes the most unplanned and seemingly throwaway pieces of dialogue can become the most memorable parts of a television series, giving fans a shared reference point that brought them together through humor rather than the show's more serious dramatic elements. Fact 10. ABC Family's darkest drama ever. Lincoln Heights shocked viewers and industry observers by becoming the darkest and most mature drama that ABC Family had ever aired, featuring content that seemed completely at odds with the network's reputation for wholesome, family-friendly programming. While most people associated ABC Family with lighthearted teen shows and feel-good movies, Lincoln Heights dove headfirst into serious social issues and disturbing storylines that would have been more at home on premium cable networks or late-night television slots. During just the first 2 seasons alone, the show tackled an incredible range of heavy topics that included armed robberies, kidnapping of minor characters, intense gang violence, prostitution storylines, incidents involving incest, and extensive drug use within the community. These weren't brief mentions or background elements either, but central plot points that drove entire episodes and character development arcs throughout the series. The show's willingness to explore these dark themes represented a dramatic departure from ABC Family's typical programming strategy, which had historically focused on creating safe, predictable content that parents could watch with their children without worrying about inappropriate material. Lincoln Heights essentially forced the network to expand its content boundaries and prove that family-oriented channels could handle complex, adult-oriented storytelling when it served the larger narrative purpose. What made this content choice even more surprising was that the show managed to maintain its TV-14 rating despite dealing with such mature subject matter, demonstrating how skillfully the writers and producers handled these sensitive topics. By the time the series reached its 4th season, the show had mellowed considerably and began to resemble more traditional ABC Family programming. But those early seasons established Lincoln Heights as a groundbreaking series that pushed the network into uncharted territory and changed expectations about what kind of stories could be told on family-oriented television channels. Fact 11. No scripts, no problem. When Lincoln Heights premiered on ABC Family in January of 2007, it was making television history in a way that most viewers probably didn't realize at the time. The show became the first and only dramatic television series on network or cable television to feature a predominantly black cast, filling a glaring gap in television programming that had existed for years, without anyone in Hollywood seeming particularly concerned about addressing it. This groundbreaking status made Lincoln Heights a target for industry skeptics who were convinced that the show was destined to fail before it even had a chance to find its audience. Hollywood naysayers and television executives openly predicted that Lincoln Heights would be canceled quickly because they believed shows with predominantly black casts lacked what they called broad audience appeal, a coded way of saying that white audiences wouldn't watch television programs centered on black families and their experiences. The pressure on Lincoln Heights to succeed was enormous because everyone involved in the production understood that if the show failed, it would likely be used as evidence that audiences weren't interested in seeing black families in dramatic television roles. This meant that the success or failure of Lincoln Heights could potentially influence network programming decisions for years to come, either opening doors for similar shows or closing them completely. Despite these predictions of doom and the enormous pressure to prove the doubters wrong, Lincoln Heights managed to run for 4 successful seasons and 43 episodes, demonstrating that there was indeed an audience hungry for this type of programming. The show's success helped pave the way for future television dramas featuring diverse casts and proved that the entertainment industry's assumptions about audience preferences were often based more on prejudice and fear than on actual viewer behavior and interests. Fact 12. From real crack house to TV home. The central premise of Lincoln Heights was built around one of the most unusual homeownership opportunities ever featured on television, involving a police officer who literally moved his family into a former crime scene that he had personally raided as part of his job. Eddie Sutton, the main character played by Russell Hornsby, was offered the chance to purchase the rundown crack house that he had just finished raiding during his work as a Mission Vista police officer, creating an immediate connection between his professional duties and his family's living situation. This bizarre real estate arrangement meant that the Sutton family's new home came with a dark history of drug dealing, criminal activity, and neighborhood violence that had been taking place within its walls before Eddie and his fellow officers shut down the operation. The house wasn't just any property that happened to be available in Lincoln Heights, but specifically a location where serious crimes had been committed and where Eddie had personally witnessed the worst aspects of the community he was now trying to help his family call home. The decision to accept this unusual offer created immediate tension and conflict within the Sutton family, as Eddie's wife Jen and their 3 children were understandably less enthusiastic about moving into a former crack house than Eddie was about the opportunity to own property and make a positive difference in his old neighborhood. This setup provided the show with built-in drama and symbolism, as the family was literally trying to transform a place associated with destruction and addiction into a loving home where they could build their future together. The premise also highlighted the complex relationship between law enforcement and the communities they serve, showing how Eddie's work as a police officer was directly connected to his personal investment in improving the neighborhood where he had grown up. Fact 13. Teen heartthrob's music industry connections. Long before Michonne Ratliff became known to television audiences as the youngest member of the Sutton family on Lincoln Heights, he had already been building a music career with some serious behind-the-scenes help from a family connection that gave him access to professional recording opportunities most aspiring young artists could only dream of. His cousin, Demetrius Henderson, who went by the professional nickname Domac, happened to own an independent record label called Dynasty Records, which became the launching pad for Michonne's early musical development and career. This family connection proved to be incredibly valuable for young Michonne, who began working with his cousin's label when he was just 10 years old, giving him years of professional studio experience and music industry knowledge before most kids his age were even thinking about serious career paths. Dynasty Records provided Michonne with the resources, guidance, and professional environment he needed to develop his vocal abilities and learn about the business side of the music industry from people who genuinely cared about his success and artistic growth. Under the Dynasty Records umbrella, Michonne was able to complete and release 2 independent albums while he was still a child, with his first album coming out when he was only 11 years old, and his second release following when he was 13. These early projects gave him valuable experience in recording, performing, and understanding how the music business worked from the inside, skills that would prove essential when he later signed with major labels and achieved mainstream success. Having this family support system and professional guidance through Dynasty Records meant that by the time Michonne auditioned for Lincoln Heights at age 14, he already had years of music industry experience under his belt, making him uniquely prepared to balance both his acting career and his ongoing musical ambitions throughout his time on the show. Fact 14. The Kevin Hooks visual template. Director Kevin Hooks created such a powerful and distinctive visual style for the Lincoln Heights pilot episode that it became the foundation for the entire series, with the production team using his work as both a template and a roadmap for every single episode that followed throughout all 4 seasons. According to showrunner Kathleen McGee-Anderson, Hooks' translation from script to screen captured a rawness, humanity, and love that elevated the family drama far beyond what critics had predicted it would become. Hooks instinctively understood the value of the material and knew exactly how to bring out the emotional depth and authentic family dynamics that would make Lincoln Heights stand out from other television dramas. His visual approach and directorial choices during the pilot filming gave the show a unique identity that perfectly balanced the gritty urban setting with the warmth and complexity of the Sutton family's relationships, creating a tone that was both realistic and hopeful. The impact of Hooks' work was so significant that McGee-Anderson and her team made a deliberate decision to maintain his visual and tonal approach throughout the entire run of the series. They worked with what she described as Kevin's template for every subsequent episode, ensuring that the show maintained the same level of authenticity and emotional resonance that had made the pilot so compelling to both network executives and audiences. This commitment to preserving Hooks' original vision helped Lincoln Heights avoid the predictable sameness that often plagued other family-oriented television series during that era. By sticking to the roadmap that Hooks had established in the pilot, the production team was able to give voice to a rarely represented community through stories that ranged from intense and violent to peaceful and uplifting, all while maintaining the distinctive visual style that made the show immediately recognizable to viewers. Fact 15. Interracial romance before its time. Lincoln Heights broke significant ground in television representation by featuring one of the most prominent and thoughtfully developed interracial teenage relationships that had ever been shown on cable television during the late 2000s. The romance between Cassie Sutton, played by Erica Hubbard, and Charles Antoni, played by Robert Adamson, was described by showrunner Kathleen McGee-Anderson as showcasing the seductiveness of Erica Hubbard and Robert Adamson as the black, white, and beautiful star-crossed lovers, representing a relationship that was both groundbreaking and controversial for its time. The casting and development of this central romantic storyline was particularly bold because interracial relationships, especially those involving teenagers, were still relatively rare on mainstream television and often faced resistance from both network executives and audiences who weren't ready to see such relationships portrayed as normal and healthy. The fact that Cassie and Charles were positioned as one of the show's primary romantic couples, rather than being relegated to a brief subplot or background relationship, demonstrated Lincoln Heights' commitment to representing the reality of modern American families and communities. What made their relationship even more significant was how the show handled the racial dynamics surrounding their romance. While Cassie and Charles themselves seemed completely comfortable with their interracial relationship and genuinely cared for each other, regardless of their different backgrounds, the series didn't ignore the fact that their relationship created tension and disapproval from some family members and community members who had strong opinions about interracial dating. The show used their relationship to explore important themes about prejudice, family acceptance, and young love in a way that felt authentic rather than preachy, allowing viewers to see how real teenagers might navigate these complex social and emotional challenges while staying true to their feelings for each other.